September 9th is Fetal Alcohol Spectrum Disorders Awareness Day, and NOFAS is here in a Riverside Park in Washington, D.C., asking people what they know about fetal alcohol spectrum disorders and fetal alcohol syndrome, or the risk of alcohol in pregnancy. Take a look. What do you know about FASD, or fetal alcohol syndrome?
Well, I know that it is developed if a woman drinks while she's pregnant, and the only really other thing I know is that it'll cause like behavioral problems after the baby's born. A lot of people will be like, don't even think about drinking, and then other people are like, oh, you could have like a glass like a week maybe, or every once in a while you could have like a glass of wine. That's generally, you kind of get both sides. Like, you don't really see or hear of many children that have fetal alcohol syndrome. You hear like, birth defects, so you'll see like the autism kids, like there's more awareness for them, but the fetal alcohol syndrome, you don't really get a lot of, it doesn't get a lot of attention. That's just obviously why you guys are doing this, but you really don't see those kids.
Alcohol during pregnancy, did you get any advisory about that?
I knew about it. I have older siblings who have kids. I know a lot of people, you have something to say. So I knew, of course, you don't drink when you're pregnant. I was surprised, actually, that my doctor didn't talk about it more.
What is your sense, then, when it comes to no alcohol during pregnancy? Does that sound about right, or from what you know and what you...
Sips. I never had a really full beverage, but I had a couple sips here and there.
And that's...
beer or a glass of wine or something like that.
I generally didn't feel like drinking when I was pregnant. I am pregnant now and I still don't. I know people that have had a glass of wine. I think that maybe, anything more than that, definitely not good.
People say 1 or 2 drinks a day are okay, but when my wife was pregnant, we made sure that, even a sip of alcohol was not. Pregnant women should be told directly. I think the medical community here, the doctors, have a duty to sort of emphasize that as much as they can.
Being a school counselor, I'm very aware. We've had children that have fetal alcohol syndrome in our schools, so I'm very aware of, the negative effect that it can have on the...
Do you think that the school that you're in is well prepared for children who have fetal alcohol syndrome and providing them the education they need?
No, probably not.
So when you were pregnant, what type of messages did you hear about the risk of alcohol during pregnancy, if any?
My doctor said that it was okay to drink once in a while, occasionally. My doctor said it's okay. My husband and I actually went to Paris for a little baby moon, and he said, make sure you have a little bit of wine there. They're famous for their wine, and it's fine. Don't have the cheese because it's not pasteurized, but you can have a few sips of wine if you want it.
So more concerned about the cheese than wine or alcohol?
Yes, because it was unpasteurized, yes.
Right.
And I've heard that, having one glass isn't so bad. I would, I have 2 children, they're 3 and 5, and I just believe you should abstain just to be safe. With autism on the rise and ADHD and so many other things, you just don't know where the root source of things are coming from. And if it's not, even if it's not alcohol and it's something environmental or what have you, why add to anything?
September 9th is Fetal Alcohol Spectrum Disorders Awareness Day. Is that a term or a condition that you've heard much about?
Well, yeah, pretty much, because I'm pregnant right now. Well, I come from Israel, and Israel, we are all educated about alcohol and pregnancy, and many birth defects could be caused by alcohol. So not drinking 9 months, I can deal with it. The price you might pay afterwards is going to be a lifelong price. So not drinking for several months is well worth it.
FASD, or fetal alcohol syndrome, is that an issue that you're familiar with?
Not particularly so much in England, but I am aware that it's not a good idea to drink while you are pregnant. They do advise you don't drink anything.
Now, how does that sound to you? Does it sound about right, or does that sound maybe overly cautious?
No, I don't think you can be overly cautious, really, as far as a baby's concerned, can you?
When you're pregnant, you get turned off by certain things, and alcohol most certainly was one of those things for me that I had absolutely no desire to touch, for also the benefit of the child, but for myself, I couldn't touch it.
I personally did enjoy drinking when I was pregnant, but very little. A glass of wine here or there. That's a microphone. Yeah. So yeah, I'm surprised I don't know more about it.
I actually at one point heard that it was okay for pregnant moms to drink a glass of wine while they were pregnant, and I actually believe that probably was not really true. I thought that had to be a crock of nonsense, because who's to determine which glass is appropriate for a pregnant person to drink.
Is this an issue maybe that there just should be more education about?
Most definitely, especially with young women, it's young females in particular who are engaging in these activities.
Yeah.
Exactly, and drinking alcohol and doing any other thing while they're pregnant. They don't really know what are the right procedures and carrying on their pregnancy.
I understand everybody makes mistakes, but hey, like when the bump starts showing down there, you got to put the 40 down, you know? You got to put the liquor down. You got to put the weed down once you know that you have a life inside your stomach. And I think that's kind of crazy that somebody would do that.
Okay, so September 9th is Fetal Alcohol Spectrum Disorders Awareness Day. Is that an issue you're familiar with?
Only in the fact that I know that it's bad to drink while you're pregnant and that it can have bad results, but that's about all I know. I do know I hear sometimes now that having, a drink every now and then, a glass of wine is okay, but I haven't really researched that to find out how true that really is.
Would that concern you if you were advised it was okay to drink?
I think I'd be conflicted just growing up always hearing one thing and then hearing every now and then now that maybe you can have one or two. I would be conflicted on whether to trust the doctor or whether to trust what you've heard growing up. Knowing eventually I probably will have kids, I would like to know one way or the other because I'm definitely someone that would enjoy having a glass of wine every now and then if I knew that that was absolutely okay. But I wouldn't want to do that knowing that there could be bad results from it later on.